This is John Jackson Miller, writer of Star Wars comics and novels, and you're listening to Star Wars with Stevie B. May the Force be with you.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I got Eddie with me here today. He's an EU fan. He's been it for a long time. He loves to read. He's very passionate about it. He's got great points of view, and he recently started putting out content, kind of expressing how he feels about the EU and how it adds to the film so much. So I want to get him on here. And so, how's it going, man?
Good, good. Thank you, Stevie. I'm happy to be here. Finally,
Yes, for
I've
sure.
enjoyed your content. Watch it every time you put out a video. Always look forward to that. So,
Thanks, man. I appreciate that very much. And it's funny how we kind of met through Instagram. And then that's how I
exactly.
found out you had a channel on YouTube. And then I was
Oh,
going
okay.
through and watching your stuff, and I'm like, man, I love his vibe. He's just positive. You're very respectful, man. So I got to say that I appreciate that so much, and I'm sure a lot of fans do. You just
Yeah.
got this. You just give off this chill, and I dig it so much, man. So I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate that too for you to say that, and that's pretty much why I put out EU content. I always look for that positive, positive point of view because, as you know, there's a lot of toxic, fandom everywhere. But
Yep.
my thing is it's all positive. That's why I gravitate towards your channel and towards your interviews because you as well, display that positive mentality and everything. So I appreciate that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that too. So yeah, the content you've been creating, you started off with the Phantom Menace and how the books and some comics have added to that. You recently just put out one with Attack of the Clones and their books, which I'm currently on that journey myself right now. So I just
Cool.
read Rogue Planet, and I'm on
Yeah.
Outbound Flight, which has been
Nice.
yeah. So it's just I love how and people just don't understand. Like it does add so much
Oh
to it.
yeah,
It's
for
insane,
sure.
you know, especially with Attack of the Clones.
Exactly, exactly. Like I say in my videos, it really, really enhances the films. Even for somebody that's not too much into reading, I really stress you really should get into the EU because it you look at the movies with different eyes and you appreciate the relationships and the events and how everything's put together. And I loved about the EU was one of the many things was the continuity and how everything connects.
Oh yeah, I love that too, and I'm finding that out more. You start to see different names popping up in books that were,
Yeah.
so that's I love it. I love it so much. It's so much fun. So let's start with, how give us the story. Give us your story. How did Eddie become a Star Wars fan?
Well, I've been a Star Wars fan ever since I can remember. I have vivid, vivid memories of being in the theater for Empire Strikes Back in 1980. So that would have made me about 4 or 5 years old, and they're mainly flashbacks. And when I say vivid memories, the things that really come to mind about that movie was the Battle of Hoth and the carbonite sequence, the Han Solo Bespin. So it must have been the colors, because as a child, you're impressed by a lot. Okay, so that really, really stuck with me. I actually had a conversation with my mom not too long ago, asking her, "Wow, I'm in my late 40s, and how did how did I get into this exactly?" So she said she took me out to see Empire Strikes Back, and then she started buying me the toys, the Kenner figures and the ships and everything. So
Oh man.
yeah, and then I have memories of standing in line for Return of the Jedi. So I would have been about 6 or 7, roughly, 1983. And then once again, the toys. And by Return of the Jedi, I do remember that a lot of those figures were on back order. So we would go and it was called rain checks. My mom would put our
Yep.
name, and then they would call us back when they had the Jabba set or the Ewok Village,
Oh yeah.
the old vintage one. So we had a lot of yeah, we had a lot of toys there for sure.
Man, I love them age with them toys. Kids
Oh
don't,
yeah,
but they don't understand. Like they don't have a clue how. Like there's no good toy stores anymore, and that's unfortunate.
no, it
You know
is,
what I mean?
it
I love
is.
collecting them. I still collect them.
Yeah,
As you can see. That's a big part of my childhood was them Kenner toys.
for sure. I seen your post recently on the wall.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Right, amazing for sure.
Thanks. Thanks.
I wish I would
Appreciate
have
that.
kept them, but I can say that I did appreciate them as a kid. I used them a
Yep.
lot, so that's pretty much what matters
Oh yeah, it's a fond memory for
for
me,
sure.
especially with one of my buddies. We used to do it all the time. But you mentioned your mom. Now that
Mhm.
is a cool memory to have, that your mom took you to see these films. You know,
Mhm.
my folks were never really into the fantasy sci-fi stuff. So I mean, I just learned about this stuff through friends, you know, in elementary
Got it.
school and such. So that conversation you had with your mom, is she still a fan? Like, is she still
She wasn't really a fan. She
okay?
would just take us to these random movies throughout the 80s. And some of them were, yeah, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and then the cult classic movies
Oh
movies
yeah,
that have become cult classics. She, especially the mid to late 80s, we were at the movies all the time. So she really made me love cinema. And I know the 80s movies are a lot of cheese and everything, but that's what makes
they're
that's what makes
special.
them great, special,
Yep.
the charm. So
Excuse me.
yeah.
Oh, I know, man. I was born in '84, and
Oh, okay.
so like a lot of them '80 movies I love. You know, my aunt used to work at a video store, so
Oh,
she
okay.
would bring home like demos and stuff of movies, and
Yeah.
it was cool. So I
Nice.
love all them cheesy '80 action
For
films,
sure.
special place. Well, that's cool. I mean, that's cool that you did that, and also kids ain't gonna really understand that these
No.
days either, and that's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
It is. It is. Times have changed for sure. So, and
Right?
I understand. I do understand. We got to go with the change. But I mean, I do have these fond memories. And yeah,
Yep.
my mom wasn't a fan. Like, she can't say she's a Star Wars fan. She would just take us to movies, like I said, to, go enjoy ourselves. And I happened to gravitate towards Star Wars. It left
Yeah.
a huge impression for sure.
Oh, absolutely. So them sequences, the Hoth, great
Mm.
scene, the carbonite scene. So you remember them. Is there any now, as obviously you've watched them a million times, just like all of us fans? Is there any other? Does that still like come back, that memory when you see that
Yeah.
now? Yeah.
Yeah. I love Empire Strikes Back, but yeah, for some reason, it must be the childhood aspect of things
Yep.
or experience. The Bespin sequence. It must have been the colors and that whole scene and Boba Fett and
Oh man, yeah.
Chewbacca with C-3PO on the back. Amazing. So I love that movie.
So you were in Return of the Jedi in line.
Correct.
What was that like? Like how was
Let's see. That was the first memory I have of standing in line for a movie.
right?
It was in it was in Monterey Park, California, and the theater no longer exists. But yeah, when I passed by, I have that memory of pass by the movie theater nowadays, and still remember that line and being. I don't have, like I said, memories of watching the whole film,
Okay.
but something that stands out was the scene when the Emperor in the beginning with the Imperial shuttle, the Emperor stepping
yeah.
down, and I was kind of freaked out, scared at that time. But yeah, that's what stands out to me from that movie as a kid.
Cool. Which out of the three of the original, which one is your favorite now?
Empire Strikes
Still
Back.
Empire? Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So
For
that's
sure.
kind of your go-to movie if you want to watch when you're going to throw an Empire.
Yeah, it's just the look, the colors, the story. I love A New Hope. I love all of them.
Well, right.
But Empire Strikes Back, just something about it, and just the way that it was left as a cliffhanger at the
Yep.
end. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's a
Really
great.
cool.
My go-to one is either A New Hope or Return of the Jedi.
Okay,
I
nice.
never really, but now on another fandom, say Lord of the Rings, I
Okay.
kind of talk about that on here a little bit too. But like,
Yeah.
I go to the Two Towers. I like to watch that. One.
Nice,
So it's just
yeah.
funny how different cinema and things.
Exactly. Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings.
So the prequels. Let's get into the prequels a little bit here. Now you were, a little older now. Did you go to
Correct.
the premiere of the Phantom Menace or? 'Cause
Yeah,
I went to that and it was insane.
it was insane. It was extremely insane. And at that time, there was a lot of personal things going on with me. I was a young adult, 99. I was about 20, about 21, 22. So I just had a baby. And there was a lot of things going on there. But I do remember I went with my one of my best friends at the time. We met at the theater, we stood in line, obviously, for a long time.
Yep.
And I walked out of the theater just with my mind blown. I loved it. I embraced George's storytelling, the adventure aspect of it. I just thought it was so cool that we saw Jedi besides Luke Skywalker. We saw Jedi doing their thing with the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan sequence in the beginning in the ship. yeah, I just loved it. I just walked out happy and content and satisfied. And I watched it about 6 times at the theater.
Holy man, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, you're right. It did blow a lot of people's minds, and seeing different Jedi and you know Darth Maul come out.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what I mean? That
the Duel of the Fates and
ah,
yeah.
man, epic,
Oh
epic
yeah,
moment.
for sure. So yeah, 1999, Phantom Menace. Good memories.
Did you go to the Attack the Clone? Did you go to the rest of the prequels then?
Yeah. So with Attack of the Clones, a couple of months before, there was I don't know if you remember this. There was a teaser trailer, and this is before YouTube and all this. So the only way to see the teaser trailer was to watch another movie. So this was months ahead of the release date. So I remember I paid for, I believe it was Monsters Inc. I paid. I walked in. I stood in the back, and then I saw this teaser, which don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember it was the sequence with Anakin and Count Dooku. We didn't see Count Dooku; it was just Anakin twirling the lightsaber in the dark.
Okay. Yep.
And it was about a 45-second trailer or something like that. And then I just left. I mean, nothing against Monsters Inc. I watched it
Right.
with my kids plenty of times, but
Yeah.
I paid just to go watch that trailer. And I know it sounds crazy, but
No.
you know, the people out there that are Star Wars fans completely can relate and understand.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do to get some. You're right. We didn't have YouTube and all this stuff back then. I don't remember doing that, and I've watched Monsters Inc. plenty of times myself.
Oh yeah.
Just so I'm with you because I was in high school when I had my first child.
Oh
So,
okay.
Yeah. So
But yeah, well, I'm sorry,
that-
Stevie, to interrupt you.
well,
but,
no. I'll just go on.
with Attack of the Clones, let's see, my son was already big enough, so I remember taking him. And yeah, same thing, standing in line. And I love the movie, and the Geonosis arena was just jaw dropping.
Yeah.
Jaw dropping.
Yes. I love that. I love that old Coliseum vibe.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I've always liked that.
nice.
The Coliseum back in them times. Just epic battles and such. So that's what that immediately reminded me of. And Obi-Wan, and then we're all chained up. It was just go on. Sorry, just you
Yeah,
got me
no,
excited
I
there.
love hearing about that too. That's one
Yeah.
of the things I love hearing the experiences. But yeah, I love the Attack of the Clones. And one other scene that comes to mind was when Anakin jumps out of the speeder to catch Zam Wesell. And that part that he's falling, seeing it in the theater was once again one of those jaw-dropping moments. Like, whoa, because there was nothing like that, if I remember correctly, a scene like that ever.
Yeah.
That I personally hadn't seen. So just seeing that on the big screen and seeing him fall and seeing Coruscant at the bottom was epic completely. And I do remember one of the memories I have about the prequels was the and I'm sure you remember the build up ahead of time, like years in advance, because we had to wait three years between movies. That felt like a lifetime.
Oh yeah. That was and you had to only get sneak peeks. I think I was going to get into this, but like you on one of the videos you did, you mentioned about comics that were actually out prior to correct?
Yeah.
See, I don't
correct.
remember them.
Yeah, they were released a couple of months in advance, and then I remember going back to Phantom Menace. They released the believe it was source book, some other material. I don't remember exactly. The novelization was released before, I believe, the soundtrack. So I remember reading the back of the soundtrack, and it said Qui-Gon's funeral. And I was like, no way! So that killed it for me. So I just wanted to consume everything. So I was like, no, if I don't buy all this stuff, it's gonna sell out. So I would go to the bookstore or anywhere else and get all this content. And I still enjoyed it though, obviously.
Oh yeah,
but,
for sure.
Do you remember? I don't know if they did this over there in Wisconsin, but Toys R Us when I did Midnight Madness before the prequels came out.
Yeah, there was a Toys R Us about an hour away from here, so it wasn't where I live. But yeah, I remember seeing getting a flyer in the mail. We had paper. Paper. You had to check your local paper or whatever to get the ads. But so you were there. You went to one of them.
Yeah, I went to all three of them to the Midnight Madness for all three movies, and then we stayed in line for I don't remember exactly the time, but it was hours before midnight, and then. We walked in, we ran in because it was crazy. People were fighting over Obi-Wan figures, and it was insane. So it was like Black Friday on steroids for sure.
Yes, man, I miss Toys R Us.
Oh yeah,
that was such a great story,
for sure.
man. So do you collect any of the figures now? Like, do you have any?
Not really.
Not
I
really.
kept some. I kept the Dark Empire Expanded Universe from, I believe it came out in the late 90s. It
Okay.
was almost like Power of the Force era, a little after. But there was I have the Princess Leia Dark Empire, Luke Dark Empire, the Emperor one, and Shadows of the Empire Snuva and Bush and Dash Rendar.
Really?
I had the Outrider, but yeah, between moves and everything, I
Oh man.
couldn't find it. But no, I don't have a lot of figures. I
Mhm.
kind of narrowed down my collection. I
Yeah.
gave a lot to my nephew, and kind of just wanted to, you know, downsize a little bit. So I kept my favorites.
Good. Yeah. I hear you. That's kind of what there's just so many figures
Oh
from
yeah,
different eras that I'd like to have, but it's like I got a lot already, you know.
yeah.
So out of the prequels, what's your go-to?
Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite movies. As far as speaking of Star Wars, I don't know. It's a tie between Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith.
Really?
Yeah, and I do remember that movie most of all sitting in a theater because my son was small, so he was growing up with the prequels with Star Wars, just like I was growing up with the original trilogy.
Original.
So that was a beautiful experience. So he loved Attack of the Clones and the Phantom Menace. So I bought him all the toys. He grew up with it. So by the time Revenge of the Sith came out, Anakin was his hero. It was like our Luke, right?
Right.
Back in the day. So I
Right.
remember having to have a sit down with him, like, hey, I know this is your hero. Remember, this is what happens. He turns bad. So I had to give him like a little pep talk. And I remember leaving the theater with him, and he's sad. So
Oh,
it affected him. So it affected him. So it just shows that storytelling can really touch people, can really reach people.
oh, absolutely. And that's a beautiful story, man. Thanks for sharing that. Having your kids grow up in a sense, with that, because my daughter wasn't really into none of that kind of stuff at first, right? And then my son was about the age when the Attack of the Clones cartoon series was on. So
Oh yeah.
like
The
the
Clone Wars?
Filoni, yeah, the Filoni
Oh yeah.
Clone Wars. The 2007,
Correct.
which I like. I enjoy that.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's good. But so he used to have the shirts, and it was kind of cool. But like you said, through life, you're kind of in and out of the fandom, depending on what you got going on, right? I'm trying to raise kids, have a family, do that thing. So, but yeah, so Revenge of the Sith is the go-to. See, mine's the Phantom Menace, just
Oh, okay.
because that memory of being in line with your friends, the
Exactly.
theater, how it was everywhere, every store, the toys. There were so many toys for episode 1.
Yeah. Exactly. They were everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere. Yeah.
So we kind of got that story a little bit. So how did you start getting into the expanding universe? Like, when did you?
Okay.
I believe you were kind of into comics at first, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So let's see. So from the release of let's see, Star Wars on VHS, the trilogy, the OT trilogy, I would watch that. So throughout my childhood and even during my teen years, so we had no Star Wars content pretty much as much as we have now. So it was just enjoying the movies. They were always part of my life. And then I started hearing about announcements of George Lucas planning this prequel trilogy. So that really pumped me up. So I know I'm kind of bouncing back and forth with this, and I do that a lot. I do that a lot, but
No,
there's
good,
a lot to say about it.
Oh,
right?
I know. I find myself the same situation. So
Yeah. No. So with the EU, I remember walking into a comic book shop. I was collecting Superman comics and Spider-Man comics, Batman, etc. And then I saw Star Wars comics, and specifically it was Star Wars Shadows of the Empire Evolution #1, which I've mentioned before.
Yep.
And is it an amazing story? Not really. It's part of the EU. I love it, but that one single comic I will always keep. That's pretty much my introduction. So I saw a bunch of these comics and the Thrawn trilogy comics, and started going through them. And I asked the staff member at the comic book shop, like, hey, what about these Star Wars comics? What can you tell me about them? And I was just pumped because we talked for a long time, and he hyped me up. He started explaining about Dark Empire, how the Emperor comes back, and my mind was just blown. And then that Luke Skywalker, establishes a Jedi Academy in the books, and yeah, so it was just a conversation with the staff member that he introduced me to the EU. So once I bought that comic and started hearing more about these stories and researching and getting into the books, it was just down the rabbit hole and Pandora's box and just spending more money than what I should have. But I just wanted everything because I felt that magic back, like when I first watched those movies. And it was these, I mean, as you know, these stories are just they're great. They really add and to the lore for sure.
Oh man, you 100%. And I want to say real quick, like how you described Luke Skywalker, how you express that through the books. Like people don't realize it really truly adds. So like you learn about he became a master, created an academy. His students, you see, and all through the connection of these books, it's mind blowing. As I'm experiencing myself, and the comic books, like I'm just diving down that rabbit hole, man. Like you said, Pandora's box. It's like because a lot of people are talking about comics, and I'm interested.
Yeah, there's so much, and some of the best stories that I found are in the comics. Like you recently talked about Tales of the Jedi.
Yes,
some of my favorites. Yeah, some of my favorites stories, and the Jedi Academy Leviathan. Do you remember that one?
No.
Mm-mm. Okay, so just seeing these characters like Kip and Dorsk 81, and just seeing them in comic book format, these characters that you read in a book, and it was amazing. I love that comic. I think it's a 4-issue series, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 6, something like that. But love that one as well.
Okay, I'll have to check into that. So Shadows of the Empire, that comic, that era.
Yeah,
you read the book, I would assume.
Oh, yeah, it's one of my favorites for sure.
Man,
yeah,
it's great. I love it.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I think I'm pretty obsessed with Shadows of the Empire because of seeing how it was a campaign. I have the vinyl soundtrack, the couple of copies of the books, like I said, a few figures. What else? There was a book called it's a source book called Secrets of Shadows of the Empire. Have that, so I really like to consume a lot of anything I can find of Shadows of the Empire.
That vinyl sounds cool.
Oh
I'd have that in a case up on the wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Shadows of the Empire as well. I love the book. I personally think that it adds so much in between the films. Like it feels like it should have been a movie.
Exactly.
Which I believe that was in the talks, or maybe it was just the video game and all that. I'm not 100% sure. But to me, like it fits. It's great.
Yeah, that's like episode like 4.5? Oh no, 5.5?
5, yeah, 5.5.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
When I was a kid, see, the figures for Shadows of the Empire were out, so I had no idea. When I bought them, there was, they had a Imperial Luke Skywalker, Dash Rendar, and I really liked the Dash Rendar figure just because you didn't know about that character unless you read the book. Yeah,
made you wonder.
Yeah, I mean, in Prince Shizor, that whole story, that would have been cool with having like a, with Vader. I think that would have been really neat to see as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even if it was animated, it would have been super cool.
Right. So you mentioned Tales of the Jedi, which that's incredible. And you said that some of the best storytelling that you want to dive into that a little more. Like
Nomi Sunrider, her daughter Ulik, these characters. I believe Exar Kun was the first time we ever saw a double-bladed lightsaber.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
That was because this is way before Phantom Menace. So I discovered it a few years before Phantom Menace and just thought that was super cool. And just that story arc, the Golden Age of the Sith, I like a lot, but that the Ulik and Nomi Sunrider saga and the way they wrapped it up with Redemption, I personally really liked it. Just I closed that comic, the last one, and just I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but whenever you read a novel and a comic that really hits you, kind of put it down and just you just think about it. Think about what you just read, and that's what happened to me with Redemption.
That's cool. I haven't got that far yet.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love it.
So yeah, Marcel the Revanchist was kind
Mhm.
of asked me what I thought was going to happen. That was because he loves that, and he's very good at explaining it and describing it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
He's
I've
expert on Tales of the
oh
Jedi.
yeah,
Very cool
he needs
guy.
me or something. But
Yeah.
I love it too. Like I've asked this to a few people now. So like the beginning of the Golden Age, we'll say, was written by Kevin J. Anderson.
Mhm. I believe
wrote
so.
wrote by Kevin J. Anderson, and it almost felt more like a fantasy sci-fi story. And then when you get halfway through it, like to Ulick, it starts to feel more of a sci-fi fantasy rather than.
I agree.
I said that wrong the first time, like a fantasy sci-fi golden age that era. And then Ulick
Yeah,
and Nomi feels more like they switched it to. It feels more sci-fi, but it
correct.
but it. Go on, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. No, I appreciated the tone shift.
Yes, there. Perfect way to say it. That was simplified. Yeah, I really like the art too. I think
Oh
you
yeah.
were talking about some art. You like? Do you draw or do you have any? I don't mean to ask you that on the fly, but
No, it's okay. No, I don't. I wish I could. I love comic book art. My favorite artists are Todd McFarlane, old school Todd McFarlane, and Michael Turner, which
okay,
he passed. I love Michael Turner's art for sure. But yeah, I do. I wish I can draw,
okay.
but
No.
no.
Yeah, I think the art in them books, in them comics were done. And I guess I don't know. I know you like the Marvel Epic collections.
Mhm.
Like, what's your thoughts on them? I mean, I appreciate them.
Oh yeah, as far as Marvel reprinting everything,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, I've mentioned before that, everybody has a right to feel what they feel, and I
Right.
appreciate anybody's stand on that. I understand some people don't buy Legends or Epic, anything that says Legends, and I understand that. I think do what makes you happy. I feel that I think you and I had this conversation online on Instagram or something, but I feel people should be open to buying them because
Yes.
Disney just pretty much is interested more in the well, I'm not going to criticize Disney. I'm sorry. Money talks, in other words.
Yes.
I'll leave it
Perfect
at
way.
that. So if they see that there's consumers, that there's a market out there, we can possibly, I mean, we can wish, but you never know. They might open up the Legends timeline again, as far as continuing or filling in more gaps or even closing it out. I'd be fine with it.
Right.
But yeah, I do buy the Epic Collections and the Legends banner novels as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand people's reasoning.
Mhm.
We had this conversation. I enjoy them and I purchase them too because it's hard to get the originals
Oh yeah,
or they're expensive,
for sure.
which I
For sure.
understand and I respect and appreciate that too. It just makes it harder for new people getting into it. Well, I can't go spend $50 on one comic,
Oh yeah,
but I can spend 40 or 50 and get the whole collection.
for
just like
sure.
just like the essential. We're jumping off kind of subject, but that's okay
No, it's
because
okay.
I want to touch on this anyway. The Essential Legends collection
Mhm.
because you have some of their books as I do as well. I love them. I think they're great. Like you said, to get new fans and money talks.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
so what's your thoughts on what should be essential? I know that's a big
Um,
conversation.
let's see, Shadows of the Empire. This is just because I'm biased. I love that story, but this is just a personal opinion.
Yep.
Shadows of the Empire. Some Essential Legends have been questionable, but I mean, at least they were released. These books that they considered essential, that I kind of don't see it essential, but that's cool too. There's a reason why they decided to go that route with certain books. Plagueis, I'm glad that they did that. That's truly an essential book, I feel.
Yes.
The X-Wing series for sure. What else? I hope one day they do NJO Essential because that to me, I feel is one of the greatest Star Wars stories told to this day. I feel.
That's what I've heard, and I haven't read them yet. I'm getting there. I know to kind of bounce back into where we were rolling. So Shadows of the Empire was your first book, and then you started reading more. You started reading in the timeline that's shown inside the book. If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken, right? That's
yeah,
what I'm doing
exactly.
right now.
Yeah, nice. Exactly. It makes it easier.
Yeah, and you mentioned uh, New Jedi Order, and you got to read them as they came out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
What
I
was that
did.
like?
That was an experience. I remember hearing about it or the announcement through magazines, through Star Wars Insider. That's
Yeah,
how pretty much we got our news. And I remember I was hyped about that. And what I was kind of putting things together from different things I would see in these magazines about New Jedi Order, the upcoming new story was that it was gonna be a big shift, a different tone. And there was a lot of there were bookstores at the mall. One particular called Walden Books and B.
yeah,
Dalton Booksellers in the mall. And I remember going to each on release day. It was like going to watch a new movie, and I would buy them as they were being released. And Vector Prime, I obviously it was very, and you'll see it's very different, and I embraced that difference, that tone shift, or it was just very, very different. I'm like, and I love the Bantam era, I really do. I fell in love with that era, but with NJO, um, it was dark, as they say. Okay, it has a rep for a reason, but I'm glad they went that way. And with somebody, I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't read it, but the death in that Vector Prime, yeah, it hit pretty hard. But I'm glad they did, even though I love this character so much.
yeah. I heard. I know. We're not going to spoil it. I know what
Yeah,
happens, and it's like, darn it, I wish I did, but I
yeah,
can just imagine that experience though, and I'm sure I'll probably have the same. Because I mean, I'll be honest, some of these books are pretty touching.
oh yeah,
Wouldn't you say? Like you mentioned before, like when you put it down and you just sit there and you're like, man, that was really good. Like that's happening to me a lot so far.
hmm
You know,
for
going through the timeline.
oh yeah. There's gonna be some books that really, really hit. Some of them are very emotional. Because
Yeah,
you really get attached to these characters. Speaking briefly about NJO, I had mentioned before, I believe on a prior video, that I strongly recommend for individuals to read the Junior Jedi Knights and the Young Jedi Knights series, because you start loving these characters even more. The Solo twins and Anakin. I like the way NJO wrapped up a lot with the Bantam era, because a lot of these, even obscure characters that were mentioned in Bantam, they come back for NJO. And I love that they did that, truly.
yeah. It's impressive how really big this expanded universe is, and I kind of think like I'm starting to look at the picture a little different now, especially talking with a lot of you guys that are everyone I've talked to, man, I can't say enough about all you guys and everyone watching. I appreciate the support. Not trying to trail off here, but it's awesome hearing you guys tell your story and how different things make you feel. And I'm starting to do that and share it with you guys as well. And just the conversations that we could build off of it. You know,
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
incredible. But like I was gonna ask you about the Young Jedi Knights, because them books are kind of hard to come by. Like, do you
Oh yeah.
have them? Do you have them all?
Yeah, I tracked them down and bought them on eBay, and I didn't buy them when they were released, but let's see. Yeah, I didn't buy them when they were released, but I remember somehow reading them before NJO. So I already knew I had this attachment with Jason, Jaina, and
Yeah.
yeah, and Lobaka, all these characters. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
I do own all of them.
it's cool. Yeah, and some people, that aren't aware of, like, actually, Han and Leia got married and they had twins, and I didn't. I read some of the books so far, like the Courtship of Princess Leia and Truce and
Yeah,
Bakura, and like all over before I'm like, hold on a minute here. Everyone's talking about like this specific. So that's why I started reading through the beginning, and the journey so far has just been incredible.
oh yeah, and that's the best way, I think,
Yeah.
for sure.
Are
Get more
you
out of it.
are you reading anything currently right now?
I'm reading the Thrawn trilogy again.
Okay.
I've read it before. So what I started doing was I went back. I'm rereading. So I'm reading everything post Return of the Jedi. So Truce of Bakura, Luke Skywalker, and the Shadow of the Mindor, and then all the X-wing series, Courtship, and right now I'm on the Last Command. So yeah, it's exciting again just to reread them, and you always get something else out of it each reread, right?
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. I've read Mall Lockdown quite a bit.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it's a fantastic book.
classic.
Yeah. Is there a certain time era that you prefer in the timeline? Like I know I mean you're a big fan of the New Jedi Order, and I'm not there, but I really enjoy the Old Republic stuff.
Oh yeah, that's awesome also for sure. My favorite would have to be post Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
My absolute favorite, but I love everything else. But if I have to narrow it down, yeah, that era is my favorite.
Well, yeah, and obviously them books were coming out as you were of age to, you were already involved. So I can understand why. And I was going to ask you about like the Bantam era or Del Rey, but like the Bantam era is kind of special too,
Yeah, for sure. I love all those books, and I know there was a lot of them, or there is a lot of them. But yeah, each of them had their own storyline. Some of them are standalone novels, and I love what they did during that Bantam era because I discovered once again the EU in 1997. So before I remember this, that before Vector Prime came out, I was already caught up. So I was consuming, I was reading, I remember having flashbacks about even during my lunch hour, I was just reading, and loved it.
Yeah. Is there a certain time of day that you like to read, or do you read whenever you got some free time?
Whenever. I usually exercise in the morning, so sometimes I read a chapter in the morning, and then throughout the day whenever I have time. But I like the morning because there's more peace and quiet.
Yeah, me too, bro. Yeah, I love it. Exercising. Yeah, I was gonna say you're a pretty fit guy. You like to get out there and take care of business. Is that kind of what you do?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a big part of my life. Just trying to stay healthy and just work out. And my YouTube name is Surfer Eddie, so I'm a surfer. That's where my absolute zen is, and the moment of zen, and it's a big part of my life. So besides Star Wars, surfing and vinyl records is what I collect.
That's cool. I can just imagine. I've never tried to surf. I've done the paddleboard thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, but I fell off.
Gotcha. Yeah, it happens.
So yeah, so that's cool. That's cool. So you got the Zen and the Force, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna ask what does kind of the Force mean to you?
What does the Force mean to me? Let's see. That's a good question. Huh?
Yeah.
What the Force means to me? Just it can be something positive or negative, depending on just like life. We're given. I don't mean to sound cheesy or anything like that, but we're given a gift, and it just depends on us how we use it, how we treat people, what we do out there during our day, how we react when we get angry, So I think it's that, it's having a balance.
Yes.
Good, it's a tool, I think.
Absolutely. It's all intertwined. It's all connected.
Oh yeah.
So do you own a lot of the books? I mean, are you still working on collecting them? I know,
Yeah, I own a lot of them. There's some that I don't own. Some of them that I have I pretty much the timeline in each book that when you open up the book, I have most of those. Missing like Cross Current and Riptide. What else? I'm missing Razor's Edge and Honor Among Thieves. But I don't know, for some reason I don't feel rushed to buy them. I do want to. I'm not a completist, but since it's the EU, I might as well.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I have those to track down. They shouldn't be too hard, from what I understand.
No. Do you like hardcovers or soft?
Soft covers.
Yeah.
Okay. Soft covers.
Yeah, I prefer like the Essential Legends size, the trade paperback. I think that's a great feel, great fit. I like hardcovers too, but I think I just want to stick with the books that really stand out the most to me.
Oh, your favorites?
Yeah, that personally means something to me. And even them are kind of expensive. Yeah. So we didn't really talk much about like on the Disney side of things after 2014 and like the sequel trilogy. I mean, you've seen them, right? I've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen them. Yeah. Okay, so I've always, this is one thing I want to mention, just like you, I want to just, I don't know, want to have that positive vibe. So I say that because I don't want to put the Disney Star Wars trilogy down at all.
Right.
Because if you tell me, hey, I loved it, I'm not gonna, because people tend to do that. They counterattack you and they start questioning, like, no, if I like it, that's what matters to me. Like if I say Shadows of the Empire is the best book ever written, if I were to tell you that, okay, that's what I
That's
feel.
cool. I dig it.
That's
Yeah.
what I feel, you know. So same thing, like if somebody were to tell me, hey, The Last Jedi is the best movie ever made, hey, tell me about it. What's your favorite part? Why do you
Right.
like it so much? Maybe I might catch something that I missed. So it's just about appreciating each other's point of view and respecting each other. So going with that, I watched Force Awakens. I thought, okay, I enjoyed it for what it was. So backtracking a little bit, for 2014, I was devastated when they, with that big announcement, that bombshell for the EU. And I just, honestly, I just didn't want to have anything to do with Star Wars when that announcement came. And once George Lucas signed or turned over Star Wars and sold it, I just had this feeling like, well, they're gonna kill it, you know. And I don't mean that in a bad, in a
Right.
good way. In a good way, they're gonna
Right.
ruin the characters or whatever. So I was kind of worried, and I just stopped reading the EU and just needed a break. So when I did for years, I watched The Force Awakens. I thought, okay, this is a new direction. This is a different timeline. And then after I watched that movie, I kind of accepted. I stopped being angry. Um, Not that I carried myself angry, but you know what I mean. Like it
Yeah.
affected you, you know.
No,
So I
right.
stopped being negative about Disney Star Wars. I'm like, okay, this is just a separate timeline. And then when I watched The Last Jedi, I remember I didn't see it that weekend. I took a surf trip to Costa Rica. And then when I came back, my son kind of just was smiling, and he just, because we were going to watch it when I came back, and he kind of just shook his head. And I'm like, don't tell me anything. Let's just go watch it. And, I don't know how I felt about it. I remember just being quiet and not excited about it. But I watched all of them in the theater.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
but I did accept the fact that there's two timelines. So with EU, I embrace pretty much everything.
Yes.
But with the new canon, I've read Light of the Jedi. I liked it.
Yep.
Path of Deceit. I thought that was a great book. So I pick and choose.
Yes.
But with EU, that's pretty much where I gravitate towards, and I consume everything. But with the new canon, if there's a movie that attracts me, I'll go watch it. And if there's a book that I find interesting, I'll go buy it.
Perfectly said. That's exactly how I feel, man.
So I'm not like this with
Right.
the Disney canon. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, I'll
Yeah.
pick and choose. And with the High Republic, for example, I wanted to have that feeling of the New Jedi Order, like we discussed, of going day of release, this huge campaign. And there's been some hit or misses, but I'm kind of on board with it more or less. But it's not what I gravitate towards.
Yeah. Same here. I came back into the fandom and I didn't really realize, that had happened. And there's like two timelines, like everything that was in the canon, they said, no, that's legends, like I had to learn all that. And it was just crazy to me, but that's perfect. That's how I feel. The movies are like, I rewatch them every now and then, trying to be open-minded, change my, opinions on certain things. The books, I've read some of them I like. I really thought Brotherhood was a great novel. Master and Apprentice was good. The Light of the Jedi, the High Republic stuff was cool. But these stories, the expanding universe stories are they just take you to that place where you want to go.
For sure. That's perfectly said. Yeah, I agree.
And they're just so incredible. I can't say that enough. I'm smiling just thinking about it. Some of the books make you feel that way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love what, some of the things that you said, about Rogue Planet, because that was still sticking out in my mind. That was just a great book, and it added that in between.
Exactly. And then it kind of forecasted what was going to come, or what's going to come, which you'll see later on. So that's one of the things I remember I read really quick. I read a comic. I believe it was the Outlander storyline in the Star Wars comic. It was called Star Wars, and then it became Republic.
Okay.
And then when I read Legacy comics, which take place way after, there's a huge reveal that ties those stories that are like decades or hundreds of years in between. Um, it connects. Okay, so
Okay.
Legacy connects to that comic that I'm talking about, and I remember putting that comic down and just one of those moments, like, whoa, no way, they went there, they
Yeah.
did that. I love those moments, and there's a lot of that in the EU.
Yes. Yes. That for sure. And it's cool that your kids are still into it and they like it because Mandalorian season 3 is coming.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty excited. My whole family is pretty excited. So do you stick up? Do you follow the shows then too as well? Like the
I,
Bad
I've
Batch and Andor.
I've seen a few episodes of Bad Batch. I can't say that I really followed it.
Okay.
Nothing against it. I just haven't. I don't know. I just haven't given it a shot. Continuing to watch it. I watched Obi-Wan mainly because I wanted to see Ewan McGregor again in that role, even though it's that canon timeline,
Right.
Disney canon timeline. Not having Hayden back and seeing him. I know that there's controversy, just like anything that Star Wars releases. Even back when George Lucas was
Right.
head of everything.
Yeah.
You can't please everybody, but I was just happy that they got Hayden back. That was beautiful.
Yes. And that's what I appreciated that so much because everybody gets. We can't beat Father Time gets us all.
True.
We unfortunately we lost Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
And Mark Hamill's getting up there, Harrison Ford. So to see Ewan and Hayden back was special, especially since
Oh yeah,
we can clearly vivid remember what that was like in the theaters.
for sure. Yeah, that was special.
Oh, so yeah, Obi-Wan. Yeah, I was just wondering, throwing it out there because I feel the same way as you do with on the Disney side of things, and I don't see why they can't be run parallel.
Yeah, I compare it to Superman comics or Batman storyline. Like I prefer Michael Keaton, the Tim Burton Batman. That's my Batman.
Yes,
But I enjoy Christian Bale and Robert Pattinson. I think they're pretty cool, but my go-to is the Michael Keaton Batman. So my point is that I choose pretty much. I enjoy this more, but I can see these movies once in a while, and that's fine.
yeah. That's funny that you said that. I was actually looking for that movie last night to watch it with my son. I'm like, come on, let's watch.
Oh, which one?
Michael Keaton. That's
Oh yeah,
I mean,
right?
You can't beat them.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
Michael
for sure.
Keaton.
Yeah.
And Tim Burton.
Yeah, I love those.
Yes, me too. So, is there anything that you're currently working on, or that? Well, before I ask you that, let me ask you this. I believe you're going to this right here, right?
Yeah.
Legends Con?
I am. Haven't gotten tickets. I don't think they're on sale yet, right?
No, I don't believe no.
But
No.
yeah, I plan to for
Yeah.
sure.
I bet you that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give it to these people who are planning it. I'm sure it's not easy, and I support what they're doing. I'm sure, like I said, I mean, it's their first one, so I want to support them, and I'm sure if this is a success, they'll keep doing it. But I want to see what they have. I'm sure there's going to be EU merch and just meeting a lot of you guys out there. I've been speaking to a few individuals that we've met here, and yeah, I mean that's gonna be amazing for sure. Just that community.
Yes, you're gonna have to take some pictures, man.
Oh yeah, I'll share them with you for sure.
Absolutely,
For sure.
yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure when the tickets go on sale. I heard that they were, they got a site where you can donate, and you can get a bookmarker and some stickers, or there's packages, and it's like I really want to get the bookmark and a sticker because this is the first time ever that I'm aware of for like a Star Wars Legends expanded universe.
Yeah,
event.
for sure. Yeah, I've never heard of one at all. Like I've been to other celebrations, and I still go to the celebrations post Disney, the few that have been here in the area, and I enjoyed it. There's EU merch that obviously they're promoting their thing, but you see EU stuff merch on the exhibit hall. And there was a panel recently in the last one about the origin of the expanded universe that I attended. That was great. So you do, and just being in that environment, you walk in and you hear John Williams's music everywhere, and yeah, it's great times.
Yeah. for sure. So what do you want to put out there on the channel? Like, what do you got coming out next, or how, anything you're working on?
Nothing planned. I do want to do one more video or a couple more videos on how the EU contributes and enhances the films. But I want to make a video on the Clone Wars, that campaign. I was talking about comic book art, those panels in those Clone Wars comics, the Republic Star Wars comics are just beautiful, beautiful. And the books, Jedi Trial, and all those Dark Rendezvous, Yoda, Shatterpoint. I love that Clone Wars era, so I do want to just talk about that. But more than anything is just joining this, just like yourself, of that positive Star Wars community.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what I stand for, and what I gravitate towards, just the positivity part of it. And whether we have differences or not, we embrace each other's opinions and value them and learn. Because I've learned speaking with other EU YouTubers about things that, even though I've been reading it for so long, things that I had no idea existed. So I'm still learning from all you guys out there, and I love it.
Me too, man. It's sure a journey. It's a story to be told all on its own. That's cool. Yeah, and like I said, man, I appreciate your vibe that you give off so much, dude. It's you're just great. You got that positive energy. I can feel that. You just radiate the way you talk. I'm looking forward to these Clone Wars videos that you're going to do, because I love that era too. I think Shatterpoint's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
Dark Rendezvous is good too. So I'm really excited to see them from you, and you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you, Stevie. Yeah. One thing I do want to mention as well was one thing I want to work on also is getting into the short stories. I forgot to mention that. I reached out to I talked to Alex.
Okay.
And he kind of introduced me to this, or he did a video mentioning about a short story with Kip. And Kip's one of my favorite characters. And wow, so that day I went to go order the Tales of the New Republic, Tales from Java. I've never read them before, ever. Okay. Yeah. So that's new to me, and that's great.
Cool. So have you started reading them? Or you didn't get them yet? Okay.
Not yet. Yeah, I have them, but I'm just going to finish the, Last Command.
Yep.
Read through and then go to one of the short stories and then continue on and back and forth with that, because I've never read any of those.
I think we lost Eddie here. Let's see if we can get him back. You're listening to Stevie B, and I'm live. Okay. There he is.
Sorry about that.
I was just using my radio voice, waiting for you to come back.
Perfect. No, that was great. That was great. So yeah, the short stories is another something else that I want to work on, and then make a video about that, and then thanking the community that I'm learning still from everybody, and all this is new to me. So
yeah, no, that's great. I was just wondering, because some people, they can read the little short stories in between other things, and I can't really do that, so that's why I figured I'd ask. Well, that's great, man. And like I said, I'm looking forward to it. And I want to ask you a couple fun questions, and you already, I think, answered one of them. So who's your favorite character throughout Star Wars?
Let's see. My all-time favorite character is Jaina Solo.
Okay. All right.
My absolute favorite character. That's why when they released that figure, I was completely surprised, and wow, so I got that. But she's just my favorite character. I feel that I got Luke vibes off her. She's an X-Wing pilot. She's a badass Jedi. She's just that character development prior to NJO, and then when we get to NJO, and then after, just that progression and everything she does. I love that character so much. And then Kip is my second favorite.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. If he was ever in a movie, who do you think would play him? Like, if they would have,
That's a good question. Kip, he must be like, I don't know.
What is that, 14, 17?
Yeah, then around NJO, he should be in his 20s, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I didn't.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not mistaken. His 20s. God, I'm not. That's a good question. I don't know.
Corey Haim.
I can't answer that. Corey Haim?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah, I would have been cool. Yeah. The Lost Boys, man. That's a great.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorites.
Yep. Me too, brother. Me too. That's cool. What type of character would you want to play? Like, who would you be? A smuggler, Jedi?
If I was in the Star Wars universe, I'll
Yeah.
keep it low key. I'll probably own a diner like Dexter, live a chill life, and be on Coruscant, and that's it. Nothing,
Teaching them
nothing
how
on
to
the front
surf.
line. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's pretty much what I do. Nothing in the front line. Kind of just
Low
doing my
key,
thing, low key.
flying under the radar. That's nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. What about what color? Well, if you had a lightsaber, what's your favorite lightsaber color?
Blue,
Blue.
blue. Yeah,
Any
like the
specific
blue
reasoning
one.
why?
Not really. Just blue is my favorite color, and I think it looks awesome in the movies.
Okay, cool. All right. Mine's green. I love green. Just Luke with
Nice.
that first
Oh
time
yeah.
he hit that in Return of the Jedi. Just love that moment.
What's
Love
your
it.
favorite? What's your favorite lightsaber hilt, or whose is your favorite?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I enjoy Luke's from
Oh,
Return
okay.
of the Jedi.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice
Yep.
one.
Yep. I just like that how it's. Well, I pre-ordered the Black Series FX one that's supposed to come out
Ooh,
later
nice.
in a couple months. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited for that. I believe it's from the Mandalorian. I think
Oh, okay.
is
Nice.
I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's gonna be awesome.
yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. I've just always liked that cylinder shape style, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good question. What about what would your name be? Your character. What would your name?
My name would be I can't think of anything
Put you on
clever,
the spot. Yeah,
unfortunately. I'm
no,
sorry.
that's all
That's
right.
a hard one. It's a good question though.
Yep. Yeah, it's fun. I always like to ask. I mean, they're simple little fun questions, but you
Oh
never
yeah.
know. But
Yeah, no,
people
exactly.
come up
Get
with these.
creative.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, is there any final thoughts that you wanna share or say, man? Is there anything you want to get out there?
No, just just spreading that positivity and just thanking people who are in the positive EU community that have embraced, friendship and always answer questions through Discord and here on
Yeah,
YouTube. And, I appreciate the community and really love being part of it.
me too, man. I've met a lot of and have a lot of considered friends, and I appreciate I thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, man. I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you,
And
Stevie.
I'm having fun just sharing this with others, and I love listening and hearing just like you and staying positive and chill.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
just
This is
telling.
something supposed to make us happy, right?
Yeah,
And not
right.
attack other people. It just makes you happy, then we keep it at that, right?
That's right. That's right. Well, there you have it, folks. Eddie, his story, remembers back when his mom brought him back in the 80s.
Yes,
And
sir.
I appreciate it again, my friend coming on here and
Well,
telling
thank
that.
you. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying it just because I'm talking to you right
no,
now, but
right.
I really appreciate your channel. Once again, your positivity. I love the interviews. I mean, you interview people well. You ask these amazing questions. We learn a lot from these interviews,
Yeah,
and I really, really enjoy your channel. It's awesome. Seriously.
thanks. That means a lot. And, I just started this for fun, just to, try to meet other fans. And here we are. And it's growing and we're all sharing and we're all learning. Like you said, I
Yeah.
learned from all of you that I watch and listen to. And I'm glad that I can bring that to others as well.
Yeah. And thank you.
Yeah. I want. I asked my daughter before I came down here because the weather's bad here, so everyone's kind of stuck in their house today. So I asked my daughter because she's been watching these little girl videos on YouTube. I'm
Mhm.
like, well, what should I tell everyone about the like button? And she goes,
Oh.
"Don't smash it!" Yeah. So I just want to
Yep.
say
Yeah.
to everyone watching, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Smash that like button. Tell your friends, share. I'm going to put Eddie's links down below in the
Thank you.
description. Get them out there. And again, I appreciate it all. I'm having fun. Thanks again, brother.
Yeah. Thank you, Stevie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take
And
care. Be safe out there
thanks, man.
during this
And
crazy weather.
yeah. And there you have it, folks. And until next time, see you soon.